Slide jiggle is the unexpected movement of elements on a slide as you flick through a presentation. Let's take a look. This slide was created by Bain for UC Berkeley, and as I flick through it, keep an eye on the top left-hand area of the slide. Now, as you can see, the content is jumping around everywhere. That is slide jiggle. It might sound trivial, but it's really important that you eliminate slide jiggle from your presentations for two different reasons. Now, the first reason is that it draws attention away from your content and makes it harder for the reader to follow your storyline because they're distracted by the slide jiggle. And the second reason is that it gives the audience an impression that your presentation is rushed, it's sloppy, or it's poorly prepared. And that's, terrible as well. So in this video, I'm going to show you 3 different ways to address slide jiggle in your presentations. Let's jump into it. The first way to address slide jiggle on your presentation is to use guides and grid lines. Now, guides and grid lines are a PowerPoint functionality. Grid lines are repeated horizontal and vertical lines that are placed over your slide. And as you can see, this will place a grid on your slide that you can use to position elements accurately and consistently on your slides. And if you do that on every slide, there should be no slide jiggle as you flick through your presentation. So it's really useful to use grid lines. But I think there's something even more useful, and that is guides. Now, guides are similar to grid lines, but guides will place a single vertical and a single horizontal line on your slide. By default, they appear along the center axes on your slide, but you can actually drag them to any position on the slide. Plus, in addition to that, you can add additional guides to your presentation. So you can have multiple vertical guides, multiple horizontal guides. It's best practice to turn on Snap Objects to Grid, and that'll ensure that any elements on your slide, like text or shapes, will snap automatically to guides and grid lines. So that's really helpful. And then once you've done that, all you need to do is add any additional guides and then position them on your slide. Now, what I typically do is I use 3 guides on each of my slides. I'll have one on the left-hand border, one on the right-hand border, and one under the header as like kind of the top border for the slide body. It looks something like this. And once that's in place, as I said, as you add elements to your slide, you can ensure that they snap directly to the guide and don't go over. And that also means as you flick through the slides, everything will be positioned perfectly. Now let's look at the second way to fix slide jiggle, layouts. There are 2 different ways to use layouts to eliminate slide jiggle from your presentations. The first one is using the slide master, and the second is using pre-built slide templates. And let's look at both. So starting with the slide master, if you don't know, the PowerPoint slide master allows you to create kind of a master layout that's reflected in all slides in your presentation. It might look something like this. This slide is a 4-box table slide, and we can set this slide up once as a slide master. And whenever we want to put a 4-box table in our presentation, we can select the layout and just fill in the content. The problem is, if we want to edit this slide, it can't really be done. So say we want to add another row in. If we try and edit the slide, it actually won't let us do that because it's using the slide master. Then if we go into the slide master and edit the slide master, that's going to edit all the slides that are using this layout in our presentation. So instead of using the slide master, we could use pre-built slide templates. Now, the important thing is we need to ensure that we've created templates that are already formatted in a pixel perfect way. We need to make sure all the elements are aligned properly. But once that's done, we can use those templates to create a slide presentation that has no slide jiggle. So what a lot of people will do is they'll build presentations over time and they'll save down slides that they think are really good, and they'll build up a repository or an archive of slides. If you don't have the luxury or the time to build up your own repository of slide templates, you can purchase one, like my business strategy and consulting template pack. And all those slides are already designed to not have slide jiggle. So I'll show you what I mean. So I've pulled out a few slides from the template pack, and as we flick through, you can see that everything is positioned consistently across all the slides. So the good thing about this template pack is that it doesn't overuse the slide master. So it uses the slide master for some things like the header, the font, the colors, and that's very useful, but it doesn't use it for the slide body. So that means if you want to edit one of these slides, you can edit it without affecting other slides in your presentation. So it avoids the problem of using the slide master completely. But if you don't want to use slide templates, there's another way that we can avoid slide jiggle, and it's kind of old school, and it's called the copy and paste method. So as I mentioned, the copy and paste method is kind of old school, it's kind of manual, but it works, and I'll show you how. So you might already know that if you copy an element and paste it on the same slide, it's offset slightly. So this is what I mean. So if I copy this box and I hit paste, you can see that the new box is a little bit lower and a little bit to the right of the original. So that's not a good thing for slide jiggle because they're not aligned in the same position. However, if you copy and paste from one slide to another, it doesn't offset. So it'll paste in the exact same position as the original slide. So because of that, you can build slides by copy and pasting elements out of other slides. And let me show you what I mean. So I'm going to take the left-hand column from this slide and paste it in our new slide. And then I'm going to take this org chart from this slide and paste it on the right-hand side. And as you can see, it's pasted it in the exact same position as the previous slides. So if I flick from this slide to the original, you can see that there's no slide jiggle. So you can avoid slide jiggle by copying elements from one slide and pasting them to another because it doesn't offset the elements. It only offsets the elements if you're pasting on the same slide. So that's 3 ways to eliminate slide jiggle in your presentations. And if you're curious about any of the slides that you saw in this video, they're all from the Business Strategy and Consulting Template Pack, and I'll put a link in the description below.